Quick disclaimer before we start. This video ended up pretty long, but I truly believe that if you're able to sit through these 24 minutes, it will save you many hours scouring the web and asking questions in forums, so please bear with me. Also note that I recorded this video 3 weeks before I was able to release it, to set the time frame for you when I talk about things. Hope you enjoy. Hi and welcome to episode 10 of Lilhawk's journey. It's been way too long since I had time to make a proper update, so there's a lot to catch up on. I have now played Lilhawk's account for a little over 3 months, and the roster has, in my opinion, turned into a solid mid-game roster because of how tall I am building. These 3 months have been extremely eventful, first with the 3-year anniversary event, then the Mythic release event, on top of everything that's normally going on, which is also why I've been struggling to find time to make videos. Today I want to focus on 2 things. Number 1, I want to explain the logic behind an efficient approach to campaigns, the transition to elite campaigns, and working your way through them. Each of your rosters will have varying degrees of options depending on what characters you have unlocked, who you like, and probably also how well you understand the consequences of the choices you make. One thing is for certain, however: if you click all the green buttons on your characters and spread all your resources out trying to do all the campaigns in parallel, your roster will be bad for a very long time, and you will feel like you are making no progress at all and don't pull your weight in your guild. This is all very demoralizing, both for you and your guild, and you will probably end up quitting the game. Don't make this mistake. I will explain how to avoid it. Secondly, I will explain where Lilhawk's account progression is at the moment, why I've made these choices, and what my future plans are. The 2 topics will of course intertwine, as I will use Lilhawk's roster as an example of how you should approach the campaigns to not get stuck in the undesirable situation I just mentioned. If you find my videos helpful, please consider using my friend code. This gives you 100 Blackstone and me various useful rewards as you level up. Any support is greatly appreciated. Before we dig in, I would still advise you to go back and have a look through the previous episodes to get up to speed with what I have done so far, even if you have already watched them previously. Now that you likely have a much better understanding of the game, things will make more sense and probably stick better. Let's talk about some introductory campaign logic. Just so you understand why this is so important, we want to unlock more and more efficient farm spots so that we can use less energy, getting the same amount of upgrades for our characters. That is obviously efficient, and this game is indeed a marathon, not a sprint, so never take shortcuts. When starting the game, you will have access to Indomitus, and shortly after, Indomitus Mirror. All other campaigns you need to work a little harder to unlock, but all the normal campaigns, including Volcadia, Octarius, and Simhan, are still fairly easy to access, especially if you pay for the mega bundles. Even as a free-to-play player, however, you can unlock them through using guild raid credits on the characters that the game doesn't offer you shards for on a daily basis through other means. For instance, Eldruan, Archimatos, and Boss Golgorts. You do need to prioritize though, so check the earlier episodes for that discussion. Your first big choice is how to unlock the rest of the mirror campaigns, which is the Volcadia Mirror, Octarius Mirror, and Simhan Mirror, as well as which normal campaigns you should focus on first. For me, it all comes down to starting with some kind of goal to make a logic from. The reason for that goal I will leave up to you, but the recommendation from me is to, for instance, make a strong guild raid team that you enjoy. This is what I did. I wanted to make a guild raid team built around Carrion, a character I really like playing and I know to be very strong. From that, it followed that I needed to unlock and build Carrion, Dante, Karn, Traian, and probably also Mephiston or Ragnar, or some other currently unreleased character to create that team. Karn is available in the guild workshop, so I'll make sure to play my wars and be in an active guild. However, one of the main problems of this lineup is that most of them are Imperial, so I will need a lot of Imperial resources. On top of that, Dante and Traian here are both legendary characters that have not finished their legendary events, so currently the only available means to get them is to unlock them through the event itself. This means I need some strong characters to carry through legendary events, and there are definitely some characters that are generally very good for these events. In case you are watching this a long time after it was released, I suspect that in 9 to 12 months from now, when the release events are over, Dante and Trojan Charge can also be purchased from the Guild Workshop. But unlocking 3 or more legendary characters through the workshop alone will take a very long time indeed. Okay, so building a carrion-based raid team is the long-term future goal that I will shape my choices around. Now, to build any strong characters as fast as possible, we need to access elite farm nodes. Thus, now we need to make a logic for what to spend energy on, which lets us transition into the long-term goals as smoothly as possible. That means using as much of our energy on characters that will directly or indirectly lead us closer to our goal as possible, while wasting as little as possible on everything else. We want to make sure that the characters we invest in are as good and versatile as possible across all game modes, while we are at the same time progressing the campaigns. This is one of the main reasons we have campaign carries. Not only are they usually the best for their respective campaigns, they also are the best out of the mandatory characters when used in other game modes. The usefulness of even the campaign carries vary though. For instance, the Follocadia mirror characters are generally less useful than the Octarius characters, which is one of the things you also need to take into account. In addition to the campaign carries, there are some characters that are basically mandatory for legendary events, including Ravas when paired up with Alefnol, the Rotbone and Maladus combo, and also Isabella when paired up with other powerful Imperials like Bellator or Carrion. These characters are still slightly lower priority than many of the campaign characters for me, however. Another thing to consider is how useful the farm nodes we will unlock in each of the campaigns are. For instance, it is not important to unlock the elite nodes for the Black Legion, which is at the start of Follocadia Elite here, and the legendary upgrade if those characters are not part of your goal. If the campaign nodes in general also aren't the most important for your goals, this campaign should be lower priority. One annoying thing about the campaign screens in-game is that you cannot see what the elite nodes of each campaign contain before unlocking the elite campaign. As you can see here, I have Octarius Mirror, but I cannot see what's in the elite campaign. You can, however, find this information online, for instance through the Tacticus Planner app. This is an extremely powerful and useful tool, which I recommend everyone to use. I won't spend time explaining how to use it here, as there are many other resources to explain this already. The last thing to consider is how hard each of the campaigns are, in particular the elite part of the campaigns. This means how much do you have to invest in the relevant characters to get to the point in the elite campaign that you require for your plans. This is not the same for all the campaigns. From a general point of view, the Xenos campaigns are the hardest because you can only use a single subfaction for each campaign. That means the Indomitus Mirror and its elite, the Octarius and its elite, and the Simhan and its elite. For the 2 Chaos campaign, Simhan Mirror and Follocadia, you can use all Chaos characters. And for the 3 Imperial campaigns, Indomitus, Follocadia Mirror and Octarius Mirror, you can use all Imperial characters. Hence, for Chaos and Imperial, you should prioritize going deep into one of those campaigns, as you can use those campaign carries for the other campaigns as well, letting you invest as little as possible in everything else. The only thing you need to do is build your mandatory characters high enough to pass the 3 character maps. The rest should be fairly easy with this approach. Keep in mind that you don't need to 3-medal all those 3 character battles. For instance, here I passed Follocadia Elite Battle 11, which is a 3 character map with 2 medals, but I can keep getting more medals on other maps where I can use more characters. I would also argue for the Imperials, investing heavily into one character that isn't mandatory for the campaigns, which still works as a campaign carry, is a reasonable thing to do, since there are 3 Imperial campaigns to use this character in. This should ideally be someone that is part of your future goal, however. For me, that was carrying. That being said, because of how good Abraxas for the Simhan Mirror campaign and both Golgorts and Snotvolga for the Octarius campaign are, I personally consider the Simhan Mirror Elite and the Octarius Elite campaigns the easiest out of the 8 campaigns. Simhan Elite and Indomitus Mirror Elite are likely the hardest ones, as you have few or no summons and no support from other factions. Now, let us take a look at Lilhawk's roster and apply this logic to it. Because of the Mythic release event, the availability of campaign characters is currently irrelevant for me, as I have unlocked all of them. Here is an overview of my roster sorted by power. In general, as you can see, I have only invested in campaign characters, except for Carrion, and small investments in Maladus, Isabella, Vindicta, Ravas, Incisus, which was very early, and Tank Smasher, which I have explained why in an earlier video. The rest of my roster is basically Stone 1. At the time of this recording, my roster progression is currently skyrocketing, as I have unlocked most of the important elite nodes, and are no longer farming any shards because of that mythic event. But it has taken quite a while to get to the point where that was the case, to set everything up. So let's explore that. Like I said, my main goal revolves around Carrion. The elite nodes for the rare and legendary Adeptus Custodes upgrades are available in Indomitus Mirror Elite and Simhan Elite. So I knew I had to build at least Necrons or Eldari to access them. Aleph, I know, is one of the mandatory legendary event characters that I have to build anyway, and I know that the rare and legendary upgrades for Necrons are available at the end of Indomitus Elite. On the other hand, I really enjoy using the Eldari, especially Eldron, in guild raids. It will be a long time still until I have the full complement of Carrion's specific buffers, so I want a good Doom and survivability for the Eldari in the meantime, which made both options reasonable. Furthermore, the Eldari rare and legendary upgrades are found in Simhan Elite and Simhan Mirror Elite. Since I know Abraxas is the single most powerful character for early rosters, I decided to go hard into him and the Simhan Mirror Elite campaign for the nodes there regardless. Simhan Mirror Elite was therefore my first elite campaign priority because of how little investment it requires. So let's take a look at my Abraxas. Because Abraxas' power mainly revolves around his summons from his active ability, I could pump his ability level up while not investing too much in his upgrade rank until I unlocked the elite nodes for the rare Thousand Suns upgrades on the first page of the Simhan Mirror Elite campaign. When I had access to those, I continued building his gear rank from low silver and upwards. I decided to push this campaign until I unlocked the Eldari Elite upgrade farm nodes on the last page of the campaign. Getting 3 medals for these nodes isn't critical, but I simply don't have time to play them manually, so that was important for me personally to achieve. 36 was the worst and required a lot of attempts to get the right RNG. This led me to have to upgrade Abraxas to Gold 3 and active and passive level 41 and 31 respectively. The 2 other Thousand Suns I have barely touched, and you don't actually need them above Stone 1. I then used my souped up Abraxas to clear my way through Follocadia, which I haven't really touched at all since I gave my Black Legions a few upgrades for the Anniversary Survival event. I was stuck for quite a while on Follocadia Elite Battle 6, as this is the first Elite Battle 3 character map, and I didn't want to invest more in the Black Legion before finishing several other higher priorities. For my first Xenos Elite campaign, I chose the Orcs. Since that campaign is fun, the Orcs are good, something they definitely weren't before their rework, and I also like using both Skullgords and Snot in both arena and guild raids as well. I started by investing heavily into Boss G's active ability, so I could push into the beginning of the Elite campaign with him at silver rank before unlocking the Elite nodes for the rare and legendary Orc upgrades on the first page of the Elite campaign. When I had the rare nodes, I upgraded both Snotfloga and Boss Skullgords to Gold 1. This was enough to get 2 and 3 medal the important Elite node at Battle 35, which means I don't have to continue building them more for now. The Black Templar upgrades after this, which is the rest of the campaign, I really don't need anytime soon, and those maps are a lot harder. The 2 other orcs can stay underdeveloped. Next, I chose an Imperial campaign. Since Bellator is a good character, we have access to Indomitus long before we unlock any of the other Imperial campaigns, and it also has many good nodes, it was natural for me to choose Indomitus Elite as my main Imperial campaign. Those Ophidian destroyers are no joke, however. So you do need a beast of a damage dealer, like Carrion, to not get overrun by them. This campaign is definitely a lot harder in its elite version than in the normal version. I managed to get most of the important nodes in the campaign, including 3 medals for Indomitus Elite 39, which has the Necron legendary item. You can manage to get through this campaign with a strong Bellator and a good damage dealer. My Bellator is Gold 1 with active level 35, and my Carrion was Gold 1 with active and passive level 40 when I did this. Certus and Tigerius both remain at Bronze 1. As you can see, many of the later battles I don't have 3 medals for, due to them being 3 or 4 character maps. For the 3 character maps, only Bellator survives, and for the 4 character maps we can bring Carrion, but we might still lose Certus and Tigerius. For the 5 character maps, we can bring Isabella as well, to resurrect one of them if they die. I will only consider upgrading Certus and Tigerius further, if I ever need to farm a lot of the elite nodes that they are too weak to be able to get 3 medals on, but at the moment I consider Indomitus Elite for completed. After Indomitus Elite, I worked my way through the Follocadia Mirror campaign and the Octarius Mirror campaign using Bellator and Carrion. In Follocadia Mirror, I am currently stuck on Battle 50, which is a 3 character map that my Astra Militarum characters aren't strong enough to progress through. The same is true for Octarius Mirror, where I'm currently stuck at Battle 56, which is also a 3 character map, and my Black Templars cannot handle it. Advancing these currently isn't my priority, however. My next focus was to progress the Eldari to get some more survivability and push for the Simhan campaign, to where I unlocked the rare and legendary elite nodes for Carrion, which we already showed. I ascended my Eldaron to legendary after obtaining some more orbs and invested some effort into Calandis to go to silver 1 and Athena to go to gold 1. My Eldaron is also gold 1, but has been so for a while. The HP and armor upgrades I added to try and survive the Stormboys against the legendary 2 Gaskull last guild raid season. I managed to 3 medal all stages of the Simhan Elite up to and including Battle 29, containing the Custodes rare and legendary upgrades with these 3. That is all I needed, so I will leave them for now. Once I had the Adeptus Custodes elite nodes available, the focus for me shifted to prepare for Trion's second legendary event, which is towards the end of November. That includes getting Aleph Null and Revas to Diamond 1 upgrade rank, and Maladus and Rotbone as close to Diamond 1 as possible as well. Both the Necron and Tau rare and legendary upgrade farm spots I have available in Indomitus Elite already, but I do need quite a bit of stuff from the Follocadia Elite to progress the Death Guard. So now when we get to the point where we are investing in legendary event characters, we are starting to touch on the endgame. Hence, a couple of days ago, I started grinding the rare upgrades for my Black Legion characters at the beginning of Follocadia Elite to be able to clear Follocadia Elite 6. Keep in mind though that they were all Bronze 2 until I finished Simhan Mirror Elite, Octarius Elite, Indomitus Elite, and most of Simhan Elite. I'm not working on everyone in parallel, but now it was their time. So let's take a look at my Black Legionnaires. Follocadia is actually quite difficult, because there is an unusual high number of 3 character maps. Bumping my Archimatus up to Silver 2 has allowed me to progress all the way up to Follocadia map 26, which is another 3 character map that I can't win without a bit more investment into Angrax and Harkin. I will probably take both Angrax and Harkin up to Silver 1 before I try it. Getting 3 medals on Follocadia Elite 28, which contains the Death Guard legendary upgrade, is the goal that I am after. Once that is achieved, the only thing stopping me from having Aleph Null, Revas, Maladus and Rotbone at Diamond 1 is a bit of time and some onslaughts to honor Revas for the last shards needed to ascend her to legendary rarity. With those 4 characters, along with Carrion at D1, I am very confident I will be able to unlock Tryon. Of course, working on Aleph Null for legendary event will also allow me to continue progressing the Necron Elite campaign. My Immospec and Makotep are both silver 1, which is enough to survive for a decent amount of time while being carried by Alaf. Now, in case you think I am a huge spender, and you as a free-to-play or low-spending player can never achieve this, let me clarify a few relevant points with respect to my game spending. I have asked Snowprint for and received 1,000 raid tickets to help me continue playing the account without too many manual battles when I was very low on tickets for a while. So thank you to Ratatosk for this. After the Mythic event, I haven't purchased anything other than the daily Blackstone shipment. I haven't even done the premium battle pass since I finished the ultimate battle pass for Carrion. I've therefore been a very low spender as I felt I was progressing well anyway, probably thanks to the Mythic event. I truly have only spent money on a select few very impactful things on this account, and it has worked really well so far. For over a month I have only spent 50 Blackstone on energy refreshes and not the 110 Blackstone, because I was a bit locked on nodes for a while. Now that I have most things open, I am back to spending the 110 Blackstone for energy refreshes as long as I have enough Blackstone. Finally, here is how I have prioritized some important resources. I have mostly spent guild raid credits on legendary orbs to get Bellator to legendary and Carrion to legendary 5-star. I will get Carrion to legendary blue star in the not too distant future, but I see a bigger need for XP tomes at the moment, so I have switched over to that for the past 3 weeks or so. All my guild war credits have been spent on Karn shards, and I have just unlocked him thanks to the last war and some creator codes, including my own. Karn is now here, but still untouched. Before I have Dante or Tryon to buff, it's not pressing priority to build him, so we will see when I start doing so. Now that Karn is unlocked, I will probably hoard guild raid credits for a while, as I don't have the resources to build Ragnar yet, and by the time I do, Ragnar may no longer be who I want on my Carrion-based guild raid team. For Onslaughts, I have been rotating through all the factions to get epic badges for my main characters to get their abilities up to 35, where legendary badges takes over. I did so until Abraxas, Carrion, Boss Golgorts, Eldrion, Bellator and Snotvlogga all had the relevant abilities at level 35 or higher. I've been solely focusing on honoring my legendary characters for legendary orbs and badges for the majority of the past 2 months. Either Abraxas, Boss Golgorts or Carrion, depending on the faction I've been running. I'm trying to avoid honoring other characters as much as possible after the Mythic event, since I got almost all the shards I needed there. Even if I currently need some other rarity badges and orbs, I know from my years of experience playing the game that in the long run, only legendary orbs and in particular badges are going to be the real bottlenecks. I want to start getting as many of those as I can as early as possible. So with this patience, I will get far ahead of the curve using this approach. Of course, some characters like Isabella and Revas, who are in my future plans and not grindable, you would need to honor in Onslaught to get them to legendary eventually. I am close with Revas, as I've already mentioned, and Isabella I got the missing shards for in some scrolls and arena crates, so she is ready for ascension when needed. For now, I am holding on to the orbs. I did have to spend a few guild raid credits on epic orbs to ascend my Revas to epic, but except for that, I am sticking to legendary stuff. Remember that using the Tacticus planner, you can still farm upgrades for characters, even if you are lacking shards or orbs to see what they need in-game. That, my friends, was quite a long one, but I hope you were able to follow along and understood the thought process. Your journey might not look the same as Lilhawk's. Maybe your goal was to build the AdMech raid team or unlock Lucius in his next legendary event, which might lead you down a very different route through the elite campaigns than me. But the method should remain the same. Regardless of what you want out of the game, make sure that you make a goal and stick to it. Only disappointment awaits you if you head to the next shiny thing at every turn, unless your pockets are very deep. If you made it all this way, thanks for watching, and thank you very much for helping me reach 3000 subscribers. Lilhawk has a code for you as thanks. Please help me out by sharing the videos with your other Tacticus friends, and please like and subscribe to my channel. If you're an active player looking for a high-level challenge, or you simply find your current guild too inactive, please come over and talk to us in the Thunder Warrior Discord, linked in the end screen and the description. We also have a very active beginner-friendly guild, punching way above their weight class, so if you're looking to grow, there might be room for you. Until next time, thank you and bye-bye.